GM Tips here, and this is GM Rick here, and I hope you're doing good. Just want to take a couple minutes to give you guys an update on the fun of what's going on in my campaign right now with the Reign of Winter. I want to say one thing as a GM, and I guess this is just kind of a snapshot out of a GM's life, as I'll call this. Remember, you want to really bring out the uniqueness of your players. And the one thing is a DM, GM, or whatever you want to call yourself, whatever system you run. I will say this: make sure you let your players play and come up with unique ideas. Encourage it. In fact, those GMs that don't like to award experience for other than combat, you got to get over that stage in your life quick. I'm going to tell you right now, my players finished the first of the Reign of Winter sections in my campaign, which is the first of the books, which is the Snows of Summer. I will say this: they did about a quarter to a third of the time combat, and the rest of the time skills and abilities to try to defeat the enemy. And I'm going to tell you, they went way off the reservation of where I thought they would go. And I am so friggin' proud of my party. I love my players. I really do. I think we got a great bunch. And I'll name them off for you, from Max and Scott and Paul and Josh and Brian. I am grateful for you guys, and my son John when he decides to join. But I'm so proud of you guys because they have really gone off reservation, and not really off the storyline, just how to get it done. The character to attempt is just amazing. And so I will tell you this, and I will say this as a quick snapshot: encourage people to use skills, feat, non combat spells that are influencing, and I'm going to tell you, linguistics is a huge deal, though I don't always use it for the roles. The guys have done a tremendous job in learning the language. They had no idea what Scald was, and now they're learning it, and it's kind of fun because they had a couple translators, and they ran into the baddie. And I will tell you this: he surprised them, but then they turned the tables on him once again, and they bought him off. Interesting way of taking things. And I love that because it doesn't necessarily violate them being good. They took him out and they protected the town that they had stopped in, and they were creative in it. And once again, mad props to them thinking outside the box. The brainstorming, the rest of it was great. And I know two of my players have designed themselves to be tanks. They are actually finding that their tank abilities aren't what's needed most right yet. And I love that because they are finding ways to get to their goal and their end game without having to kill anything. And that's pretty freaking amazing. Don't worry, I will have things wrap up the way they should, just because of some of the other tie-ins and contacts and where these players come from. Allow them to pick your backstories, their backstories. Max and his backstory for his rogue has solved so much for this party. He's not the good one. He's the neutral one. And yet, and he's the one you GMs and DMs dread, the chaotic neutral. But yet he has been the most decisive in getting them to move forward, along with the other neutral, which is the Fey-touched human sorcerer, who doesn't use a lot of offensive spells but uses a lot of charm and other things. I'm going to say these two have set the bar. And along with it have been the cleric, who's been a real focus on healing and helping people's lives to be better, and as well as the war priest and the paladin, who've had to think a little bit differently, but not gone off their reservation or their story, because I keep bringing them back to it. So I really love that. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to love it when your players are not beating up every monster, and when they're sitting there throwing monkey wrenches in your story and plot because they're using something you didn't expect, and promote it because it's going to be the most fun, memorable, funny experiences you will ever have as a GM. And whether it's a sci-fi or whether it's a steampunk or whether it's a superhero or whatever, let them use their gift of gab to get themselves out of things. It's what makes it fun. And my rolls are not beating theirs. Their rolls are beating mine left and right because they've planned their characters out really well. And I love it because I give them the same experience, if not more, for the creativity. I give them an extra 250 or 125 or whatever for coming up with the ideas. And then if they work together, they get it together. And so I'm encouraging people that you can get experience outside of combat and to utilize your skills and feats. Please do that as a GM. And I just say that it will be one of the most enriching experiences of your life. And I would say that more than anything, as a GM's musing, let your players have some fun with it. Don't get angry when they don't beat your baddies by combat. Don't get upset when you have to think about how is that baddie going to get defeated if they walk away with the gift of gab, and then how will they reoccur in the player's life again if they will. It just opens the whole concept up to so much more fun and so much more enriching things. And so, I guess in saying this, 3 tips. Number 1, let your players be your players. Let them think outside the box and reward them for it. Number 2, encourage skill and feat use, especially ones that are non-combat. Number 3, don't worry about if they go off the reservation in the solutions. It just opens it up to much more fun and interesting endings that you wouldn't have expected. And that's the great part. You're going to create a story that these guys and ladies will never, ever forget. So just keep that in mind. And don't blow your cool. Just let them do it. And you know what? I got corrected on one of the things in the game, and I'm okay with it in the mechanics. I let them correct me some. Guess what? It's okay. It's nothing horrible, and I want them to feel like they can be, useful in a group. And we had an argument between 2 of the players about how a spell worked, and I looked, and it was amazing because I found out which one was correct, and I didn't down the other one because both of them want to help. Both of them want to work it out. So you can avoid the conflicts there by just helping them to both feel good. That's it. I'm going to do a GM's tips on the Mummy's Mask coming up. Tried to do it several times today, but had interruptions, so know that. And I'm going to be talking about these lovely mummy masks. And so get prepared. You'll need that, and you'll need that path. And if you want a review of whether it's worth your time, oh heck yes. And get the maps for it as well as the pawns, because I'm going to tell you it's going to be a great adventure if you're a Pathfinder. And even if you're D&D 5, God forbid you guys get bent out of shape that I'd recommend a Pathfinder adventure path, but you might just like it once you convert it over. You might be surprised. Thanks, and you guys have a great week.